use this as a resource for pastors and for our churches and our association and even the entire world.
All right, can we stop for a
Yeah,
second?
yeah, sorry.
You were thumping the tar out of the table. You're like, good evening, West John. How are you?
Okay.
Start over, but
I'm super nervous.
No
I don't know why. I
thump-
should
no
be nervous.
thumping.
Good grief. All right, here we go.
Take two.
Well, good evening, West Joanne. We are so excited to launch a new podcast, and this will be a wonderful resource to churches, to pastors, and literally to the world. And so I want to just take just a brief moment to introduce these guys. Many of you know most of these guys. I'm Derek, and I'm from Winton Baptist Church.
David Walther, the pastor of Senior Run Baptist Church.
James Knight, pastor of St. John Baptist Church.
I'm Greg Clark, the Associational Mission Strategist.
And so the purpose of this podcast ultimately is to glorify Christ in all we say and do. And also it's really to help churches make disciples of that are making disciples. And also we want to have fun, and we're trying a new format out as a podcast. And so there's some unique things where it's a learning process for us. And we want to also highlight what you're doing, what God's doing in your churches, and so that's going to be an exciting thing. But we want to share with you an example of churches working together. Hey, we're better together, right? And so, as you know, Western North Carolina has been they've suffered greatly from the effects of Hurricane Helene. Let's just talk about that, guys, a little bit. What are your thoughts on Helene and how the churches in our area, just really in terms of a response? What have you seen?
So it's definitely a tragedy. I know many of us have family out in that area or know people out in that area. It's even though it's Western North Carolina, it seems like it's forever away from here. It's 8.5 hours. Again, many of us have people that grew up in that area who are still present, and so we see the needs firsthand in being able to talk with our loved ones. And so it almost makes it more personal. Tragedy is tragedy wherever it strikes, but having people present in those areas makes it just more immediate for some reason.
Right. And so from a perspective, from an associational perspective, Greg, you've been AMS. You're doing a great job. You're brand new. Trial by fire, but you're doing great, and we love you. What have you seen as far as in terms of response? How have you seen our association respond to the need?
Yeah, one of the things that really comes to my mind when I went out to St. John and saw the trailer, I'd heard John Porter say that he had driven by that morning and that the parking lot was full. And so we had some things to deliver, and so I went out to see, and I was just really blown away with the amount of things that had already been collected, and of course, and the workers from James's church who were trying to stage everything, and the one thing that came to my mind was how our churches had mobilized so well to the need, and that was the one thing that really impressed me, how our churches came so quickly together, and was able to mobilize resources to meet the need.
Right. Amen. And Brother David, you had just a wonderfully unique thing happen at your church when you had a time of prayer, just a focused time of prayer. You want to share just a little bit about how you saw God move in your people in that way?
Yeah, so we are setting aside, Saturday was our day of prayer, and so we set up a schedule for our church members to come in, and we give each church member 30 minutes to come in and just spend time at the altar with God in prayer, praying for hurricane victims in both North Carolina and in Florida now. And so they're going to spend time praying for those people. And that just, we've already seen prayer answered because I think we heard this morning of over 600 people in Western North Carolina make a statement of faith and giving their life to Christ. Amen. And so God is already working there. And so, but we want to come together as a church and church family and pray for those people, pray for all those who are volunteering, and pray for God to be glorified through this.
Amen. Amen. And, those of you that get the newsletter, there are definitely prayer points within the newsletter and to our association on how you can pray for Hurricane Helene, the victims there, and certainly how you can get involved. Incredible response. I mean, James, we're turning people. They're turning people away from Western North Carolina, right?
Right.
And so,
Well, and so to Greg's point, the response of the churches in the area. One of the things that we saw. So I contacted you Saturday morning, after the hurricane, and said, I have a church member who has this availability as far as a trailer to get supplies there. How do we go about this? You gave me a contact. I spoke with Greg. He gave me contacts. We got it semi-organized. And then Sunday morning, I'm having a deacons meeting. So nobody has talked to the churches. Well, nobody has made an announcement from the pulpit. Sunday morning, we're having a deacons meeting, and it's probably 9 o'clock in the morning, 9:30. We have a knock on our door. We go to answer the door. It's one of our church members and says, hey, there's somebody out here ready to who's going to give supplies. So that was Sunday morning before an announcement was made from the pulpit. Sunday after church, from like 1 o'clock until 6 o'clock at night, we're just steady receiving a stream of supplies. Monday morning when Greg comes, it's just, come on, let's go. Yeah. I mean, people have responded. And, it's amazing that if I had to make an estimation, every church in the West Chowan Baptist Association donated something.
wow.
Yeah.
Schools in the area, other Christian organizations, whether parachurch ministries or churches themselves, donated. People from Southern Virginia, Southeastern Virginia, Suffolk, Chesapeake, Virginia Beach were like, hey, how can we donate to you? And so the response of God's people to help God's people to be the hands and feet of Christ was amazing.
Yeah, sure. So it certainly was. And guys, anything else you want to say about that?
Well, I think it's just great what God's doing in West Chowan Baptist Association. I mean, we got OCC shoe boxes coming up. We got the backpacks for Appalachian coming up. We got a coat drive going on for kids in our own 3 counties that we're able to provide for. There's such a need just in our state and across the world for people to hear about Christ, and just what God is doing right here in West Chowan.
Amen.
It's just amazing.
It is, and thank you all for stepping up. You've
Yes.
brought a coat this evening. Great. Throw a tag on it at the meeting. Those of you that are watching, it's just an exciting thing. So let's kind of move on and talk about what's next for the podcast. This is kind of a format that we're going to be doing, and I hope you like that. But what are some? We want to talk about topics that you care about that are important to our churches. So please let us know if you have an idea for a podcast, or maybe God's doing something in your midst in your church, and you'd love to share about it. And we'd love to hear you talk about it. We'd love to hear your heart on that. And we want to highlight areas of our association doing ministry together. Maybe on a bi-weekly or a weekly post. And also our pastors, they have great insight. We have a weekly pastors meeting. The Lord just moves, and we encourage one another. You're going to be seeing a lot of that. Leadership development, missions, Baptist men, women, the WMU, Women's Missionary Union. What is God doing? And so we want to highlight that and be a resource to you, West Chowan. Anybody else before we say goodbye to everybody? So we want to say thanks for watching, and we hope this podcast has been an encouragement to you. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe, and God bless you all. And it's going to be a great journey together. Goodbye. Thanks so much.